Hollywood used to sell us the dream: brighter smiles, tighter bodies, impossible glow-ups. But behind the red carpets and filtered photos, a harder truth is showing. Some stars aren't just changing, they're shrinking under pressure, chasing beauty with prescriptions, silence, and pain. This is not just a story about vanity. It's about what fame can cost when being seen means disappearing. Number 1. Chelsea Handler. Chelsea Handler was never the kind of celebrity who played by Hollywood's rules. She built her name on sharp jokes, brutal honesty, and the kind of confidence that made perfection look ridiculous. But then her body started changing fast, and suddenly, the same industry she used to mock was applauding her for becoming smaller. At first, it looked like another celebrity glow-up, sharper face, thinner frame, cleaner photos. But Chelsea did something most stars would never dare to do. She told the truth. She admitted she had tried a weight loss drug not because her health demanded it, but because in Hollywood getting thinner can feel like getting approved. And the truth was not glamorous. She described feeling sick, nauseous, exhausted, and emotionally off balance. The body everyone praised was the same body making her feel unsafe. What looked effortless from the outside felt like punishment behind closed doors. That is what makes Chelsea's story hit harder than a red carpet headline. She was not just exposing a drug trend. She was exposing the culture that makes women believe shrinking is the same thing as winning. In a town where silence protects the illusion, Chelsea Handler broke the spell. She reminded people that not every transformation is empowerment. Sometimes it is pressure wearing makeup. Number 2. Katy Perry. Katy Perry was never built to blend in. She came into pop culture like a sugar-coated explosion. Neon wigs, candy-colored costumes, stadium-sized choruses, and the kind of confidence that made every stage feel too small for her. For years, she was not just a singer. She was a spectacle, loud, bright, playful, almost untouchable. So when Katy started appearing noticeably thinner, quieter, and more fragile, fans did not see a glamorous reinvention. They saw something that felt different. Her face looked sharper. Her energy seemed lower. The woman who once looked like she could power an entire arena with one smile now appeared at times strangely drained. And that is where the concern began. In Hollywood, weight loss is usually treated like a victory. The photos come out, the compliments roll in, and everyone pretends not to ask too many questions. But with Katy, the change felt less like a celebration and more like a warning sign. People wondered whether it was stress, exhaustion, health issues, pressure from the industry, or something connected to the growing wave of celebrity weight loss drugs. Katy has not publicly confirmed that kind of story, and that matters. But the silence has not stopped the conversation, because fans can sense when something feels off. The concern is not just about her body. It is about watching someone who once represented joy, color, and fearless performance look like she is carrying something heavier than fame. Katy Perry once made the world believe in fireworks. Now many fans are simply hoping the spark behind the image is still okay. Number 3. James Corden. For years, James Corden was Hollywood's lovable exception. He was not the guy selling six-pack abs or superhero discipline. He was the funny one, the charming host who could laugh at himself before the tabloids ever got the chance. That was part of his magic. He made people feel like you did not have to look perfect to belong under the brightest lights. Then the change came fast. When James appeared noticeably slimmer, the first reaction was praise. Hollywood loves a transformation, especially when it can package it as discipline and self-control. But soon the compliments started turning into questions. His face looked different. His energy seemed lower. The weight loss did not feel like a slow lifestyle journey. It felt sudden, sharp, and carefully explained. According to the article, James pointed to healthier habits, but not everyone was convinced. Fans noticed the hollowed look, the controlled photos, the quieter public presence. And because his whole brand was built on being real, the silence around the details felt louder than any confession. That is what makes this story more complicated than a before and after photo. It is not really about whether James lost weight. It is about what happens when a celebrity known for honesty starts sounding rehearsed. In Hollywood, the body changes first, but trust is often what disappears next. James Corden's transformation was supposed to be a glow-up. Instead, the article presents it as a reminder that when fame rewards the appearance of control, even the funniest man in the room can start looking trapped inside the joke. Number 4. Lizzo. For years, Lizzo was more than a pop star. She was a movement in human form. Loud, joyful, unapologetic, and fully herself, she stood on stage like a reminder that confidence did not have to come in one size. In an industry obsessed with shrinking women, Lizzo made taking up space feel powerful. That is why her transformation hit differently. When new photos showed Lizzo looking noticeably slimmer, the internet did not simply cheer. It paused. Fans were confused, critics were ready, and suddenly every image became evidence in a trial she never asked for. Some people called it health. Others called it Hollywood pressure. But the deepest reaction came from those who had seen her as a symbol of body positivity. They were not just looking at her weight. They were questioning what it meant. And that is the unfair part. Lizzo is still a person before she is a message. She has the right to change, to struggle, to want something different for her own body. But Hollywood does not let celebrities change quietly. It turns their bodies into public property and their choices into headlines. According to the article, the backlash was not only about appearance, it was about identity. Fans wondered whether the woman who once challenged beauty standards had been forced to obey them. Supporters asked for compassion. Critics shouted hypocrisy. And somewhere in the middle was Lizzo carrying the impossible weight of being both a human being and a symbol. Her story feels less like a scandal and more like a warning. Even the strongest voices can get tired when the world keeps demanding that their bodies prove a point. Number 5. Mindy Kaling. For years, Mindy Kaling felt like the woman Hollywood was not supposed to fully understand, and that was exactly why people loved her. She was smart, funny, ambitious, and refreshingly real in an industry addicted to perfection. She did not look like the usual leading lady, and she did not pretend to. Her confidence made her relatable. Her curves were never treated like a weakness. They were part of the story. Then almost overnight, the story changed. Mindy began appearing dramatically slimmer, and the reaction was complicated. Some fans praised her. Others looked closer and wondered what had really happened. This did not feel like a slow lifestyle shift. It felt sudden, polished, and almost too perfectly timed, the kind of transformation when Hollywood knows how to celebrate without asking what it costs. Publicly, Mindy spoke in the familiar language of health, happiness, and feeling good. But according to the article, the whispers around her transformation told a more uncomfortable story: pressure, image control, high-profile projects, and the old Hollywood rule that women can be funny, talented, and powerful, but they are still expected to fit the frame. What made it hit harder was the emotional shift. The woman who once joked so freely about imperfection seemed more guarded, more careful, more aware of the camera. Her transformation was not just physical. It changed how audiences connected with her. Mindy Kaling did not simply lose weight. In the article's view, she became a symbol of how even the most relatable stars can be pushed to rewrite themselves just to stay in the spotlight. Number 6. Rebel Wilson. When Rebel Wilson announced her year of health, people loved the idea. It felt honest, inspiring, and surprisingly human. Here was a woman known for making audiences laugh, choosing to take care of herself in a way that sounded balanced and real. She shared workouts, motivation, discipline, and a message that millions wanted to believe change was possible without losing yourself. But then the transformation moved fast. As Rebel appeared slimmer and slimmer, the applause slowly turned into suspicion. The change looked dramatic, polished, and almost too quick for the simple story being told. Fans still wanted to support her, but some could not ignore the timing. What was presented as a natural wellness journey began to feel to some like another Hollywood makeover wrapped in inspirational language. According to the article, that is where the tension begins. Rebel did not just lose weight privately. Her transformation became part of her public brand, a story of fitness, self-control, and lifestyle change that ordinary people could look up to. And when a celebrity sells a journey as achievable, the details matter. The uncomfortable question was never whether Rebel had the right to change her body. Of course she did. The question was whether the audience was getting the full truth. Because in Hollywood, a glow-up can become a business, and inspiration can turn into marketing before anyone notices. Rebel Wilson's story, as the article presents it, is not simply about weight loss. It is about trust, image, and the pressure to make every transformation look effortless, even when the real path may be far more complicated. Number 7. Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill was never the actor Hollywood could easily place in a box. That was part of what made him feel real. He was funny, awkward, vulnerable, and honest in a way that cut through the fake confidence of celebrity culture. When he talked about body image insecurity and pressure, people listened because it did not sound like branding. It sounded like someone telling the truth. But over the years, Jonah's body became part of a public cycle he could not seem to escape. He would gain weight, and the internet would judge. He would lose weight, and Hollywood would applaud. Then the conversation would start all over again. His latest transformation, according to the article, did not feel like a simple fitness story. Fans saw a much thinner Jonah, not just lean, but tired, guarded, and almost hollowed out. That is what makes his story feel painfully human. This is not about a man trying to look better for a role or a red carpet. It is about what constant judgment can do to someone who has spent years being watched, analyzed, and compared. The body changes, but the pressure never leaves. The most heartbreaking part is the emotional shift. Jonah once connected with audiences through openness and humor. Now the article describes him as more withdrawn, more controlled, more careful with his image. It feels like fame taught him that being himself was never enough. Jonah Hill's story is not a glow-up. It is a warning about what happens when an industry keeps telling people they must change to survive until they start disappearing from themselves. Number 8. Scott Disick. Scott Disick once moved through reality TV like he owned every room he walked into. The sharp suits, the quick mouth, the expensive watches, the effortless arrogance, it all became part of his brand. He was the charming chaos inside the Kardashian universe, the guy who made being reckless look almost stylish. But lately, the image has started to crack. According to the article, Scott's recent appearances left fans stunned for a very different reason. His face looked thinner, his eyes more sunken, his frame noticeably smaller. This was not the polished new chapter kind of transformation Hollywood loves to celebrate. It looked sudden. It looked heavy. And instead of applause, the internet responded with concern. That is what makes Scott's story feel so real. For years, he sold the fantasy of never aging. never slowing down, never losing control. But fame has a way of turning time into an enemy. Inside a world where youth is currency and every flaw becomes content, even confidence can start to feel like a costume. The article suggests that people close to him worried not just about his appearance, but about his behavior, mood swings, withdrawal, and an obsession with staying young. The party prince, once surrounded by noise, now seemed quieter and more fragile. Scott Disick's transformation is not framed as a comeback. It is a cautionary picture of what happens when vanity stops being fun and starts becoming survival. In Hollywood, losing weight may get attention, but losing yourself is the part no camera can make look glamorous. Number 9. Jessica Simpson. Jessica Simpson has spent most of her adult life being watched, measured, and judged. From pop star to fashion mogul, every stage of her career came with a headline about her body. If she gained weight, the world talked. If she lost it, the world talked even louder. And for a long time, what made Jessica different was that she did not pretend the pressure was easy. She spoke openly about pregnancy, weight, body shame, and the brutal expectation that women must bounce back like their bodies are public property. That honesty made people trust her. She felt real in a business built on illusion. But then came her latest transformation. Jessica appeared dramatically slimmer, almost unrecognizable, and the reaction was not simple applause. It was concern. Fans studied the photos, the sharp features, the polished posts, the sudden gaps online. Something about it felt less like freedom and more like control. According to the article, whispers around her change painted a darker picture. Obsessive weigh-ins, strict food rules, mood swings, and the emotional weight of trying to stay perfect in an industry that never stops scoring women's bodies. What makes Jessica's story hit so hard is not just the weight loss. It is the feeling that a woman once praised for being honest may have been pushed back into the same old trap. Hollywood loves a comeback, but only when it comes in a smaller size. Jessica Simpson's story is not really about vanity. It is about survival and the painful truth that sometimes the world does not want women to heal. It just wants them to shrink beautifully. Number 10. Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne has never been the kind of woman who hides behind polite silence. She built her reputation on being sharp, fearless, and brutally honest, the person willing to say what everyone else in Hollywood was too scared to admit. So when her weight loss became impossible to ignore, Sharon did something rare. She told the truth. And the truth was not pretty. What began as a quick way to slim down turned into something far more dangerous. According to the article, Sharon admitted she lost so much weight that even people close to her were shocked. At first came the compliments, the praise, the familiar Hollywood approval. But behind that thinner image was a body struggling to keep up. She spoke about nausea, weakness, trouble eating, and the frightening feeling that her body was no longer fully under her control. Even after stopping the medication, the damage did not simply disappear. Regaining weight became difficult. Her health felt unstable. The so-called miracle had left behind consequences no glamorous headline could soften. What makes Sharon's story so powerful is her honesty about the mental side of it. Rapid weight loss can become addictive. The smaller number on the scale starts feeling like success even when the body is sending warning signs. Sharon Osbourne's story is not a celebrity glow-up. It is a warning. In a culture that praises women for disappearing, she showed what can happen when the applause gets louder than the pain. Number 11. Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer built her career on saying the things Hollywood usually tries to hide. She joked about body pressure, called out impossible beauty standards, and made millions laugh because she sounded brutally, refreshingly real. She was never selling perfection. She was selling honesty, the kind that made people feel less alone in their own skin. But then Amy tried the shortcut Hollywood had been whispering about. At first, it looked like the kind of transformation the industry loves to celebrate. A slimmer figure, a cleaner headline, a body that suddenly seemed to fit the approval machine. But behind the praise, Amy was not glowing. She was suffering. According to the article, she later admitted that weight loss medication left her feeling sick, exhausted, nauseous, and emotionally shaken. The outside world saw a smaller version of her. At home, she felt like a weaker one. And the moment that changed everything was not a red carpet or a camera flash. It was her son. Amy realized she was too sick to fully be present with him, too drained to enjoy moments she could never get back. That truth hit harder than any Hollywood compliment ever could, because no amount of applause is worth losing time with your child. What makes Amy's story powerful is that she did not try to rebrand the pain as discipline. She walked away and told the truth. In a town that rewards women for shrinking quietly, Amy Schumer chose her health, her family, and her real life over the fantasy. Her transformation was not getting thinner. It was refusing to disappear. Number 12. Oprah Winfrey. For decades, Oprah Winfrey was not just famous. She was trusted. People did not only watch her, they believed her. She spoke about weight shame, emotional eating, and the exhausting cycle of trying to love yourself in a world that keeps telling you to change. Oprah built an empire on honesty, and that honesty made millions feel seen. That is why her confession hit so hard. When Oprah admitted she had used weight loss medication, the reaction was bigger than a celebrity headline. It felt personal. To some fans, it was refreshing proof that even the strongest, richest, most admired women still struggle. But to others, it felt like a betrayal. The woman who once preached self-acceptance had turned to the same shortcut many people now see spreading through Hollywood. And Oprah is not just anyone. Her influence is enormous. When she speaks, people listen. When she normalizes something, culture moves. That is what made the conversation so intense. Critics argued that Oprah has access to elite doctors, careful monitoring, and medical protection most ordinary people could never afford. Her audience may hear the message, but they may not have the same safety net. The article presents Oprah's story as more than weight loss. It is about pressure power and the painful contradiction of modern fame. If even Oprah, the woman who taught millions to face the truth, felt the need to shrink, then maybe the real problem was never her body. Maybe it was a culture that still refuses to let women simply be enough. Number 13. Kourtney Kardashian. For years, Kourtney Kardashian sold herself as the different Kardashian, while the rest of the family leaned into glamour, excess, and perfectly packaged chaos. Kourtney built her image around restraint, clean eating, organic living, balance. She was not just a reality star anymore. She became a wellness brand, a woman telling millions that health should be natural, mindful, and pure. That is why her transformation raised so many eyebrows. When Kourtney began appearing noticeably slimmer, sharper, and more sculpted, fans noticed right away. This did not feel like a slow, quiet lifestyle shift. It looked fast, precise, and almost too polished, the kind of change Hollywood celebrates, while pretending not to ask how it happened. Publicly, the message stayed familiar: clean food discipline, mindful habits. The same language that powers her wellness empire. But according to the article, the whispers behind the scenes told a more complicated story. People questioned whether her new look truly matched the natural philosophy she promotes. And that is where the controversy becomes bigger than her body. Kourtney has every right to change how she looks. But when a celebrity sells wellness as a product, honesty becomes part of the deal. Fans are not just buying supplements or lifestyle tips. They are buying trust. Kourtney Kardashian's story is not simply about weight loss. It is about the thin line between wellness and branding, and what happens when the woman selling natural starts looking like Hollywood got involved. Number 14. John Goodman. John Goodman never needed Hollywood's permission to be unforgettable. For decades, he walked onto the screen with a presence bigger than any spotlight, warm, grounded, funny, and deeply human. He was not built like the typical leading man, and that was exactly why audiences trusted him. He felt real in an industry obsessed with pretending. But then his body began to change, and fans did not react with simple applause. They reacted with concern. According to the article, John appeared dramatically thinner, with a gaunt frame and sharper features that made many people look twice. This was not the kind of transformation that felt like a polished comeback. It felt unsettling, almost unnecessary, because John Goodman was already a legend. He had nothing left to prove. That is what makes his story hit so hard. Hollywood does not only pressure young stars, pop singers, or reality celebrities. It can reach even the icons the people audiences already love exactly as they are. The message may not always be spoken out loud, but it is there: stay relevant, stay marketable, take up less space. For John, the transformation feels less like vanity and more like a warning about an industry that never stops asking bodies to change, even when talent has already done enough. John Goodman's story is not about becoming better. It is about the painful question Hollywood refuses to answer: why should a man who already filled the screen with greatness ever be made to feel like he had to disappear? And that is the part Hollywood does not want in the caption. Weight loss drugs may be real medicine for people who truly need them. But when they become a shortcut for approval, the story changes. The problem is not one injection, one celebrity, or one before and after photo. The problem is a culture that teaches people to fear their own bodies, then sells them a faster way to disappear. Behind every glow-up headline, there may be nausea, anxiety, exhaustion, and a private battle nobody sees. Fame makes it louder, but the pressure reaches everyone. So before we praise another shocking transformation, maybe we should ask a better question. Are they healthier or just smaller? Because beauty should never cost someone their peace, their health, or their life. And if the price of being accepted is slowly vanishing, then maybe the real sickness was never the body at all.